Coach Hedge was changing baby Chuck's diaper on the hood of the Pinto, keeping Chuck distracted by letting him gnaw on a grenade, which was probably just an empty casing. Probably. Melly stood next to him, supervising. When she saw us, she waved and gave us a sad smile, but she pointed towards the plane, where Piper stood at the base of the steps, talking with the pilot. In her hands, Piper held something large and flat, a display board. She had a couple of books under her arm, too. To her right, near the tail of the aircraft, the luggage compartment stood open. Ground crew members were carefully strapping down a large wooden box with brass fixtures, a coffin. As Meg and I walked up, the captain shook Piper's hand. His face was tight with sympathy. "Everything in order, Miss McLean? I'll be on board during pre-flight checks until our passengers are ready." He gave us a quick nod, then climbed into the Cessna. Piper was dressed in faded denim jeans and a green camo tank top. She'd cut her hair in a shorter, choppier style, probably because so much had been singed off anyway, which gave her an eerie resemblance to Thalia Grace. Her multicolored eyes picked up the gray of the tarmac, so she might have been mistaken for a child of Athena. The display board she held was, of course, Jason's diorama of Temple Hill at Camp Jupiter. Tucked under her arm were Jason's 2 sketchbooks. A ball bearing lodged itself in my throat. Yeah, she said. The school let me clear out his stuff. I took the map as one might take a folded flag of a fallen soldier. Meg slid the sketchbooks into her knapsack. "You're off to Oklahoma?" I asked, pointing my chin towards the plane. Piper laughed. "Well, yes, but we're driving. My dad rented an SUV. He's waiting for the Hedges and me at DK's Donuts." She smiled sadly. "First place he ever took me to breakfast when we moved out here." "Driving?" Meg asked. "But—" "The plane is for you two," Piper said, "and Jason. Like I said, my dad had enough flight time and fuel credit for one last trip. I talked to him about sending Jason home. I mean, the home he had the longest in the Bay Area, and how you guys could escort him up there. Dad agreed this was a much better use of the plane. We're happy to drive." I looked at the diorama of Temple Hill. All the little Monopoly tokens carefully labeled in Jason's hand. I read the label Apollo. I could hear Jason's voice in my mind saying my name, asking me for one favor. Whatever happens, when you get back to Olympus, when you're a god again, remember what it's like to be human. This, I thought, was being human. Standing on the tarmac, watching mortals load the body of a friend and hero into the cargo hold, knowing that he would never be coming back. Saying goodbye to a grieving young woman who had done everything to help us, and knowing you could never repay her, never compensate her for all that she'd lost. "Piper, My voice seized up like at the Sibyls. "It's fine," she said. "Just get to Camp Jupiter safely. Let them give Jason the Roman burial he deserves. Stop Caligula." Her words were not bitter, as I might have expected. They were simply arid, like Palm Springs air. No judgment, just natural heat. Meg glanced at the coffin in the cargo hold. She looked uneasy about flying with a dead companion. I couldn't blame her. I'd never invited Hades to go sun cruising with me for one good reason. Mixing the underworld and the overworld was bad luck. Regardless, Meg muttered, "Thank you." Piper pulled the younger girl into a hug and kissed her forehead. "Don't mention it. And if you're ever in Tahlequah, come visit me, okay?"